Oh, unfortunately, it's similar to last week, but I'm not necessarily just like calling anyone out. But last week we talked about Will Ospreay's latest comments in an interview about WWE, and unfortunately, it is a week later, and he's doing it again. And he's basically just doubling down on what he said last week about how, he's so much better than every single person in WWE. And this time he's now saying that everybody in AEW is way better than everyone in WWE. And he kind of does the like backhanded compliment thing where it's like, oh no, like they have some really good people and they're really good at what they do. It's like that backhanded thing being like, they're good at what they do, but like it's not what we do because we wrestle. And it's just like, all right, dude. But I feel like this kind of sparked a bigger conversation online. And then I saw this tweet that was saying, like AEW people specifically have been very vocal against the tribalism, whether it's in their favor or in WWE's favor. And they've been actively trying to get it to like slow down and just be like, all right, guys, like you can watch both companies, you can watch one, you can watch every wrestling promotion, you can be loyal to one, you can hate us all, it doesn't matter. Like we don't need to be like this. Like everyone's gonna like what they like or don't like what they don't like, it doesn't matter. The problem is that AEW talent continue to do interviews and they get asked about WWE, but there's ways to go about not answering questions. It's not like there is a gun to their head and they're like, you're not going to leave this interview unless you answer this question,
Exactly.
And it's the thing is that they just keep bringing these problems up and just amping up that tribalism that they claim that they want to get rid of. And it's like, Ospreay right now is at the forefront of this conversation because he just keeps doing these interviews and they keep getting, clipped and the sound bites go viral. And, people are like, well, he was only answering a question. And it's like, you don't have to answer questions if you don't want to. Like, it's not that difficult. And so it just kind of defeats the purpose of what they're trying to tell you, like, oh yeah, we don't want this tribalism, but then you keep feeding into it and giving more ammunition to those tribalists to continue on what they're doing. And so it's just unfortunate because we've talked about it so many times where it's like you can be an AEW diehard and you can hate WWE, but when you spend more time talking about the other company than your own, that's a problem. And that's the
No, it
case
is.
with these interviews where it's AEW talent, some big talent like Will Ospreay, where no one is talking about the rest of the interview. No one's talking about, the pay-per-views that are coming up and the big matches that he's going to probably be in. We're talking about the fact that you're shitting on WWE again. And that's
Yeah.
just riling people up. And so I don't see how there's a benefit to it in any aspect for anybody ever.
When you talk about the other product, people are going to go to the other product whether you want them or not. It's just inevitable. Like words mean something. So
Well, it's free promotion.
it is free promotion. Thank you. That's a great way to sum it up. I see what he's saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you when I say that because I agree with you. I don't think you should be talking about the product. But what he is saying is that it's where the best wrestle. It's where, and by wrestle, he means the literal action.
I know,
And
but
with
it's
that, it's
also
no,
go
no, no,
ahead.
no, no. I agree. Yeah, it's but just because that may be true doesn't mean you're like a super. It's different. It does not mean you're on their level because you're not.
But you also don't, like I said, you don't have to disrespect them because that's
Yeah.
insane to say all of the best professional wrestlers are in AEW. That is insanity. That is not true. You cannot say that there is no top professional wrestler in WWE. Like if we were saying all of the top professional wrestlers in like AEW, TNA, and WWE right now, he's basically saying they would all be in AEW. That's not true. And like I said, I think last week, the irony in that is that like 70% of their talent is former WWE guys. So like, what are you saying? It's like you're saying so and so sucks because they're in WWE, but if they went to AEW, all of a sudden they're one of the best wrestlers ever. Like, it just, again, it doesn't make sense. There is a way to promote your company and to talk about the competition with, you know, the big fish in the pond, which is WWE, without like disrespecting what they do, you know, because it's like, I wouldn't say Gunther is a shitty wrestler, like, in that he can't hang with AEW
No,
guys. Of course
he
he
did
could.
he did shout out.
I know. But again,
Gunther,
it's backhanded because it's like, oh, they're good at what they do. You know, again, it's like, I think he's just not being great with his words. And again, it's not just him, but we also just have to be careful because, like, when we were talking before we went live, like, WWE talent does not talk about AEW at all in interviews. Like, and if they do, they almost never say their name. They never name drop anybody, and they don't talk shit. Like, if they do it online, whatever, right? Like, who cares? But when you're getting an interview and then the biggest takeaway from your interview isn't about your pay-per-view match that's coming up in 3 days, it's about the fact that you're shitting on the other company. Like, you're doing it wrong.
You are.